Hey guys, welcome back to Hype RC. In today's video, we have another new release from Redcat, the 1/10 Ascent Fusion. I literally just got done with filming the Ascent 18 and had put the regular Ascent in my cart and was getting ready to purchase it when they announced that they were going to have another new release. And I am glad that I held off because this looks like it's probably the best bang for the buck in 1/10 crawlers, period. I don't think anything else is even coming close. Brushless motor and brass right out of the box. So we're going to get to an upgrade video on this very soon, but I have got to get this rig out and run it. So let's get over to the bench, see what comes out of the box, and then take it out for a crawl. Stick around and check it out. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed. Very nice box art from Redcat. It looks super sharp. Let's go ahead and see what's on the side. So it gives you some details about the vehicle, ground clearance, the motor, transmission, portals, everything else. Let's go ahead and see what comes out of the box. So it looks like we have a set of decals and stickers for the rig, an instruction manual, some nice bubble wrap packing around the remote. Ooh, that's a very nice remote. That feels very nice in the hand. Super sharp foam wheel, 4 channels. That is super sharp, guys. And then it looks like we have some extra body posts, body mounts, a bunch of goodies we're going to have to get out of the bag and check out. And then, of course, let's get the rig out itself. So they have this zip tied down in there, so we'll get it out on the bench. So there it is, man. That is super sharp looking, man. I cannot wait to get out and crawl this thing around. I'm going to go ahead and get all this stuff unpackaged, and we'll take an up-close look at it. All right, guys, now that we've got everything out of the box and unwrapped, let's take an up-close look at exactly what you get with this rig. We're going to start off with the RTX 4C remote. So this is Redcat's 4-channel remote. It is very sharp. It looks like it comes with steering trim, throttle trim, and steering rate. You can reverse the servo and the throttle right here on the top. There's also a bind button in case it comes undone on you. Now, this is the channel 4 here, and the channel 3, it looks like we have an LED for a little bit of night crawling. I really like this textured grip and the foam wheel on here. Definitely can be driven one-handed. That is very nice. Now, this does take 4 AA batteries that do not come with the rig, so you're going to want to have those on hand. It also looks like they sent us not 1, but 2 decal sheets to go ahead and dress up this rig with. Then we got a quick start guide. Now, this is just a basic quick start guide that you get with this. Now, if you want to download the full manual, you can go ahead and do that right here. It looks like we also got a pamphlet here on the Fusion Pro motor. So this is going to give you all the information you need on the motor itself. I'm glad they sent that with it. And then it looks like we get the underdrive gears in case you want to change that out. The 20% comes in it, and that is definitely what we are going to keep in this rig. Looks like they also sent you some more internal springs for those shocks. It also looks like we got a battery tray in this one, and then an extra support and some caps for the nuts on the wheels. And then it also looks like they sent you some body posts in case you want to change the body out on this rig, which would be nuts because this thing is super sharp looking. Let's go ahead and take an up close look at the rig now. All right, guys, let's start off by taking a look around the outside of this rig. And one of the very first things I noticed are these extra heavy-duty metal bumpers on the front and rear of the vehicle. Now, this is a pinched comp-style cab-only body in all black with some very nice red details. Looks like we have a lot of red accents all the way around from these wheel nuts to these washers to the caps here on the shocks. It looks like a 1.9 plastic beadlock wheel with some very sticky foam-filled vented tires all the way around. On the rear of the vehicle, we also have that metal bumper, very nice anodized aluminum red diff cover. Now on the rear shocks, you can tell that they've taken those internal springs out, which should help with extra articulation on the rear of the vehicle. The front shock up here still has the spring on the inside, which should help keep the front of this vehicle nice and planted. Let's go ahead and take a look underneath the hood on this rig. So now that we have the body off, let's take an up-close look underneath the hood on this rig, and we're going to start off with the electronics because that is where the performance and the value is going to come from on this rig. So this is the Hobbywing Fusion 2-in-1 1800 kV 540 brushless motor with FOC. This is the power switch right here, and you can plug your program card into this slot right here and tune that motor. And the receiver is sitting right there next to it on these very nice plastic boat sliders. Now, on the front of this vehicle, we have the HexFly 35 kilogram waterproof servo, and on 8.4 BEC, this can actually go up to 42 kilograms. This is a very nice servo. Generally, you don't get a servo this nice in an RTR. This does not need to be changed out at all. Next, let's go ahead and talk about the carbon fiber chassis on this rig. So this is a really nice carbon fiber chassis that Redcat has put on this Ascent. Now, this is something that generally does not come with an RTR, and this one is 3 millimeters thick all the way around, and they've actually separated the front and rear shock towers from the main chassis brace, which means they might have other ones coming out in the near future. They've also been very generous with all the aluminum spacers in here to really stiffen this chassis up. Now, it does have a carbon fiber motor mount plate up here that goes and attaches down to this divorce transmission, which is super nice and user friendly because you can change out the underdrive gears in this without taking it off of the lower skid plate. We also have plastic boat sliders on both sides. Now, this one on this side has the Velcro strap to be able to go ahead and mount your battery down nice and low to keep the center of gravity as low as possible on this rig. Now, there's also a plate up here that if you had a smaller LiPo battery, you could go ahead and mount it up here, but you have to be careful with the wiring and make sure you don't get chewed up by the spur gear right here. So let's go ahead and take a look underneath this vehicle. So on the bottom side of this vehicle, we do have all metal links. We have a 3-link in the front with a panhard and 4-link in the rear. We do have plastic telescoping drive shaft as well. Now on the front and rear, we do have portal axles with machined CNC diffs with very nice red anodized aluminum diff covers. Now these are metal gears in the portals. Now on the front of this, they do actually provide brass portal covers, which really gets a lot of the weight moved up front on this rig. We also have metal steering links as well. So this has been thought out and very well put together by Redcat. I am extremely impressed with all that you get for $399. So let's go ahead and get a few batteries charged up and get this rig out for a crawl. All right, guys, while we got those batteries charged up, I figured we'd get a quick weight on our rig before we take it out for a crawl, and we are sitting absolutely amazing right out of the box. We are sitting with 61% in the front, with 39% in the rear, an exact 50-50 left to right. That is with the battery installed. With that 20% underdrive installed on this rig, this thing ought to really crawl very well with that weight bias. Let's go ahead and get this thing out for a crawl. All right, guys, so the Redcat Ascent Fusion is an absolute beast right out of the box. This thing performed absolutely amazing. So let's go ahead and get right to it. We're going to start off with the pros, and the number one pro for me is the overall setup of this rig. We walked my course forwards and backwards with zero difficulty and hit 62 degrees on the incline board. I don't have another box stock rig that even comes close to doing either of those things. They have this thing tuned in very, very well, box stock. But let's go ahead and talk about the components that really help it accomplish those things. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the brushless motor. So the Hobby Wing 1800 kV motor modulates very slow, lots of speed and torque. You could see on the speed run that I did, this thing has more than enough wheel speed to get this thing going up and over any obstacle you put in front of it. Next are the tuned shocks on this thing. I did not have to do anything to them. They come tuned directly out of the factory. No inner spring on the rear with the inner spring on the front, lighter springs on the outside on the front, and they just performed absolutely amazing. And then the carbon fiber chassis. You know, you don't get that on a box stock vehicle. It keeps all the weight lower on the vehicle. You don't have that big old metal rail frame on this really weighing the top side of it down. And then the overall looks of this thing, man, it just looks killer. All the little details with the red that they accented the whole vehicle with just make it look absolutely killer. And then you get metal links on the bottom, on the suspension, and on the front, on the steering, right out of the box. Like, you really don't have to do anything to this rig. $399, and you're ready to go hit some of the toughest lines on your course with very little difficulty. So I'm just extremely impressed with that. So the one issue that I did run into, unfortunately, was that my Hexfly servo was bad right out of the box. So I cannot, talk about whether it did good or bad. And luckily, I had a NIMOD 45 kilogram servo ready to go, and I threw it in there. The good thing is I called Redcat in a 5-minute phone conversation. We troubleshot it. They went ahead and got me another one in the mail that day, and it's headed back here on its way right now, so I can go ahead and get that replaced. So that is not a knock against Redcat. Sometimes electronics are just bad out of the box, and typically it's the servo. It was twitching as soon as I turned the power on, so I knew that we probably had a bad servo, and I luckily had an extra one sitting around that I could go ahead and swap in so we could get the video done. And then, again, a 5-minute phone call. Their customer service is absolutely amazing. So, big thumbs up to Redcat for their customer service on that. But the only con that I could find on this rig is that the tires rub. So in the speed run, you can really hear the tires kind of catching and grabbing on the body. With a little bit of trimming, you can, get rid of that. So that's the only complaint that I can even possibly think about this rig. Other than that, this thing gets a 9.5 out of 10 for me. It's almost as perfect as you could ask for a rig out of the box, as, that's on the market, So the only thing that I'm going to go ahead and probably think about doing to this is maybe a different set of foams and a set of 1.9 aluminum bead locks. And other than that, I really don't have a lot that I want to do to this rig. It is almost absolutely perfect right out of the box, and basically a little bit of trimming and just for looks and a little bit more weight down low, a different set of bead locks on there. And this thing is just amazing. I'm super excited with what Redcat has done the last couple months. We've got our Ascent 18. We've got a tune-up video coming for that with some big-time upgrades. And then I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this. Do I need to? No. Am I going to? Yes. And we'll go ahead and take a look at that here in the near future. But don't forget to support your local hobby shops. Bash, crawl, repeat. Hit that subscribe and like button for me and ring the bell so you can catch my next video. We'll see you next time.